And then now they've started, I guess, like essentially swinging, kind of like the Mormon wives, or like open their relationship.
Right.
I thought that was interesting because I can see where they're coming from, right? You know, be there. So while they're doing all this, they have each other as a support system. Like they have each other where it's like, oh, I go hook up with this person. It sucks. I can just go hook up with my husband later because like I know that's going to be good.
I think there's the illusion of the security, but it's just like today in society where they're like, oh, well, I have a job. It's safe. I have a job. 50 years ago, having a job meant security. Mm-hmm. Today, no.
Yeah.
They let you go.
Everyone's replaceable.
Right. Everyone's replaceable. And so I think it's a false sense of security.
We were hanging out with some of our friends and they were talking about this sort of topic because they know some people.
I love that you said niche instead of niche.
Niche is
the correct pronunciation.
Or is it like
French.
potato?
No, niche is like, I need to pick my niche.
What?
That's the American.
I don't even know what you just said, but like, did you say like itch? Like it's like an itch?
I need to pick my niche.
What is that? Like, what does that mean?
You just use the word niche. Niche.
I know what niche means, but it sounds like you're trying to use it.
Niche is what people
now
call
I can't even talk.
niche, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it like potato?
Yeah.
Niche sounds better to me. So they were talking about this couple that had gotten together when they were really young and had only been with each other. Right. And they've been married for like 20 years or something. And then now they've started, I guess, like essentially swinging, kind of like the Mormon wives, or like open their relationship.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting because I can see where they're coming from, right? Like they have no other experience with anybody else.
Right.
They've gone all these years, like, and I can see where even if they're like still satisfied with their choice, there's probably these questions that they don't have answered, right? Like, what is it even like to be with other people? Like, are things drastically different than this or not? Like, is this as amazing as it seems? Which maybe you don't want to find out the answer to that question, which again is also why I'm like, that's still maybe not a good idea. Like there's so many layers to this, right? That's why I was like, this would be a good topic, even though it's very specific.
Right.
There's so many layers because it's like, I get that you didn't have your phase where you went out and you were crazy and you experienced other people. Sure. And so you have these curiosities, but also, do you want to find out the answer to your questions? Because what if it's not going to make your relationship better?
Right.
And then like you said, when we were kind of talking about it, like we didn't talk in full length, obviously.
Yeah.
But you were talking about how your relationship dynamic can't ever really go back.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And so that's also true. And it's like, is it worth it? I mean, we wouldn't know because we're not doing it. Right. But I thought it would be a good topic to kind of dive into because there's so many layers of it.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
So I don't know what you would specifically call it, the topic, but I'm sure we'll figure that out. But at least now you have a full understanding, basically, of what I'm diving into.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's so much to say on it.
Oh, wait, there's one more thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
There's one more layer that I want to lay out here because I want to lay out all the layers like an onion.
Okay.
Just call me Shrek over here. But the other layer that goes into this is that while they're hooking up with other people, they still have the security of a relationship. They still have the security of a marriage. And that I feel like is important because when you're in your wild and crazy phase, when you're younger, whenever you go into that, and you're single, you don't have that security, right? Like it's just these people. And like people might not view it as a security. They might actually like it because it's not an attachment. But at the same time, even if you're single and you're going out and you're dating multiple people and you're being with multiple people, I feel like as humans, we do have this desire to have somebody there, like no matter what, like to support us and, you know, be there. So while they're doing all this, they have each other as a support system. Like they have each other where it's like, oh, I go hook up with this person. It sucks. I can just go hook up with my husband later because like I know that's going to be good or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they have that in the back burner. And at times it's not even in the back burner because they're still married. Like they're still living their married life, I'm sure, to some degree. But then going out and hooking up with other people and then coming back home with each other.
Let me start with that one then. Because here's what I would say about that. I agree with you about having the security, that it's an important thing that changes. However, I would say, what gives you security in a relationship?
You're asking me specifically? I mean, I would say that it's like being yourself and knowing that the person that you chose to be with loves you no matter what and is going to stand by you.
And how much security do you have in the relationship when you know that your partner is hooking up with other people that they may fall in love with?
Look, I agree with you, but they're both doing it. And so I think that in a weird way, because they're both doing it, they do still have that security. I don't know if that makes sense. But it does in my brain. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it almost cancels each other out because I agree. If like one of them was doing it, that's not. But the fact that both of them are doing it, it's like the security that both of you guys are doing this thing. And I'm sure they made some sort of agreement, maybe, I would think. I hope they're not going like total off the wall. You know, I think there's some sort of, even the swingers on the Mormon Wives had an agreement at first, and granted it went off the wall and they fell in love with each other, like you're saying. I'm not saying that doesn't even happen. I'm saying that you're right, that you greatly increase the risk of that happening because now you're being intimate with other people. Like,
and I mean, I would say that actually, if it's one person doing it, then you have more security. And I'll tell you why.
So?
Because if two people are doing it, it's twice the risk. And you have a person that knows that the other person's doing it. So then they're not as careful with not falling in love with someone else because they're like, well, they might be. So then I'm not as careful about it. You see what I'm saying? So I think you're just creating more. I think there's the illusion of the security, but it's just like people that are today in society where they're like, oh, well, I have a job, right? It's safe. I have a job, a 9 to 5. Whereas 50 years ago, having a job meant security. Today, no. They
Today,
let you go.
It's everyone's replaceable.
Right. Everyone's replaceable. And so I think it's a false sense of security. And, you know, and I have some experience in this.
I mean, I want to know how that like felt, you know, like, because even if you consciously didn't really think about it, it is different. Like it is different to go out and hook up with other people when you have someone else at home. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, even if consciously you're not thinking about it, I do feel like there is like a security blanket. It's like, okay, I can go out and pick up this guy, right? Like, and we could whatever. And if it sucks, I can go back to my husband and like, you know, he still loves me. Like, you're not actively thinking that.
Right.
But you are in some degree in the back of your mind. Like, no matter what way you're thinking about it, it doesn't have to be exactly like what I just said.
Right.
There is some of like, I can go and put myself out there and it's not as scary because this person is at home waiting for me.
But why does that matter? Like, why would that be
because
less scary?
Because you have somebody that is going to be there for you no matter what happens out in the real world. When you're out in the real world and you're single and you really like somebody and you're pursuing them, you don't have a backup plan. You don't have someone else that you care about that's going to be there if it doesn't work out with this person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I still think that that's not really the thinking that you
Well, then what is the thinking? Because you know, but I'm just saying that it makes sense that people feel more secure in doing that, I would think. like opening it up, even though I agree with you, it's never going to be a secure thing because you shouldn't open your relationship up, in my opinion.
Right.
But
yeah,
there is a level to it that is what I'm talking about.